Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast. The RTGAC is back in today. I got to adjust the camera angle, but before we do all of that, welcome back to this edition of the CR7 Podcast. Cole is in what, South Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina, there we go. That's why we're coming to you a bit later, but that is okay. We still have a lot to talk about. As we know, the Phillies on a bit of a cold streak. We'll be reacting to that. I said on last week's edition, we have a lot of combat sports coming up this weekend. We'll be reacting to a lot of that as well. SummerSlam, UFC, boxing, all that. Football is coming underway. Obviously, if you guys are in the local area, St. Joe's Prep has officially started their August camp today. Hopefully we get back to a state championship, but we're not going to be talking about that. We'll be talking about two levels above. We'll be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, how their camp is going, and then Brandon Ayuk, his trade rumors are going up and up and up in popularity, so we will be talking about that as well. Cole will be giving his predictions. I'll throw one in there as well. Team USA won their game against Brazil earlier today in dominant fashion. Are they unbeatable? And they look unbeatable, so are they going to win that Olympic gold medal? We'll see that. And then Cole, about a little halfway through the season, will be giving his current MLB awards, and then we will cap it off with Ryan's rants. Cole, since the last time we have talked, the Phillies have looked god-awful, 1-6 since the last time we have talked. While I fix the camera angle, talk about this team.
Yeah, right before I get into this absolute tragedy, I just want to say I did go to the Panthers training camp today, so that's why I'm wearing this. Hopefully one little, other team's apparel won't, kill me. I also got this for free. Little player roster. So, I'm feeling myself, but I'm not feeling the Phillies. 1-6, as you said, Ryan. Oh boy. I mean, you go into this New York series. I mean, you're looking to, I wouldn't say win the series because, they're hot, especially with the addition of Jazz Chisholm. I feel like he's been swinging a hot bat for them. But yeah, you look at the rest of that series, Sanchez, you go out on the bump, you don't throw that well. I mean, this team has been backed by their starting pitching for the first couple, months of the year, and now it's starting to slow down, and yeah, a bunch of L's in a row for the Phillies. I look at this Seattle series, the first game, absolutely horrible. I thought Wu looked great on the other side of the mound for the Mariners, but Phillips, I thought he was going to come out hot like he did last time. He certainly did not. Didn't help my fantasy team, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, he goes out there and he just gets rattled in the first two innings. I think it was 8 runs or no, it was not 8. It might have been actually. I think it was probably like 6 or something. Anyways, then you move on. You lose in 10, and it's the guy who you just got off the trade deadline, Carlos Estevez, and he's been great closing games for the Angels. I'm starting to like him a little bit more now, but, still, I'm not a big fan. I like the addition, but he is not fitting. He still needs to, adapt to this winning culture, but he hasn't really seen it quite yet. But, you do avoid the sweep in Seattle, which is good. Wheeler threw an absolute gem. I think he went 8 innings.
Yeah,
0 runs. And then you go to LA, 2 strikeout throwing pitchers, lose by 2. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but, I mean, you got to pick up another win somewhere here. I mean, get swept by the New York. Like I said, Ryan, before in earlier weeks, if you, during the Cleveland series, I think, I said, if you, get on a losing streak going into, New York series, and then you keep losing, then you get onto this huge road streak, which goes on for, I think we said,
10 games.
Double digits, yeah. I mean, it's just not going to work out for you. And you're playing all these late games in the West Coast. It's just not looking good. And especially, you finally get back and you play the guys in your division who you need to get leads on and whatnot. I mean, not really, but Atlanta, I'm looking at the series. That's a little bit further ahead. That's two episodes in advance. But still, I mean, you look at this team, Ryan. They have not performed up to par in these last couple weeks. They have not. I mean, they're one of the worst teams out of the All-Star break. At some point, you got to get it together. This is not Rob Thompson's fault. I'll say that. This is on the players, especially the hitting side of things. I mean, let's look at what they scored. I mean, I don't even need to pull up the stats. I don't care who you are. You need to score. I mean, what's the most they scored? They scored 6 runs. That's the most they scored. They scored 6, 5, 2, 5, 0, and 3. Now, I get you're scoring 5 a game, but, I mean, when you can't have two things going wrong at the same time. You can't have the starting pitching going wrong, and you can't have the hitting going wrong. And in the past weeks, it's kind of been the bullpen, but now it's kind of leaning on the starters in the field and on the mound. I mean, Ryan, this team, especially hitting-wise, has just taken a huge step back.
Yeah, it has not looked good. I'll get into it now, and that is that I think the starting pitching is tired. Cole will ask you about this I'll ask you something like this in a few minutes. Also, I don't know, your lighting's a little bright. Like, you're very bright here. I don't know if you can close a window or something.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
All right. But anyway, as I continue here, I think the starting pitching is tired. As I said it before, and I will say it again. You know, guys like Nola, for example, you were pitching, you go 7 innings, you pitch 10 strikeouts. You know, if you're pitching 100 pitches per game, I mean, you know, it doesn't look good to continue all the way through the season, which is it's just not going to work out. But I don't know. That's a bit of a problem in my opinion. And I think that it's the same way for the entire pitching staff. Ranger, hopefully when he gets back, he'll have his legs with under him. He'll be a little better. And he will continue to thrive like he did in the beginning of the season. Wheeler, not many complaints. I mean, he's been a little inconsistent, but that game against Seattle, I thought he did a very good job. Not too many strikeouts, but definitely was able to keep the ball, you know, out of.
Right, at this point, I don't even care about strikeouts, to be honest with you.
True.
I mean, as long as they're getting deep into the game, especially that.
Right.
That was a great game by Wheeler.
Right. The Yankees series, I mean, I feel like you just got unlucky. I mean, that's a very good team in the New York Yankees, and at the end of the day, you just got unlucky. You lost in 12. You probably should have won that game. But yeah, that was pretty bad. And then you go into Wednesday, you lose 6-5. That was another thing. And then you just go on in what is it? Yeah, Wednesday. Well, Wednesday actually, that was really bad because they really should have won that game. They were coming back, and they just looked absolutely incompetent in the last few innings. Then you go into the Mariners series, and you just look terrible. Friday, I mean, I didn't even watch that game. Obviously, I was watching Friday Night SmackDown, but I'm watching, you know, I'm looking at the highlights and all, and they just looked absolutely terrible. I don't really know what went wrong there. If I can pull up the stats just really quick. You know, Phillips comes in there, who was looking absolutely incredible beforehand. You can't say that he's tired because he's only pitched 4 starts up until this point. So there's no way that you can say that he's tired. Maybe he was just a 3-start wonder. I'm not necessarily sure. But he was only in there for not even 2 innings before he gave up 8 runs. So I don't really know what's going on with him. So there's not really an excuse for that. I feel like for the other starting pitchers, there is an excuse. Sunday, you go in 6-0. You did incredible. Harper, after going 0-24, his last 24 at bats, he finally gets it going. I think Schwarber, he hit a leadoff home run to start the game. So yeah, you had a really great day on Sunday where nothing really could go wrong. It was a bit concerning in that very last inning because the bullpen, it looked like they were not going to have another clean outing where in the very last inning, I think it was Ruiz in the 9th inning, he looked like he was going to give up some runs. And if you are that Phillies bullpen, you need to start having more clean innings because even when you're up, 6 runs, or even if you're up by only 2 runs going into the last inning, you need to get these clean games done and just figure it out. Like, you need to figure this stuff out. Cole knows, once again, I'll say it before, I'll say it again, Cole, you know a lot more about the pitching than I do. I think they're tired. But anyway, before I ask you a couple questions, Cole, I will say about this Dodgers game, I mean, the Phillies sweep them, when it was in Philly. really would not like to get swept in LA. I mean, you didn't play terrible. You started out really good, and then in the third inning, you just collapsed like a cheap tent. The sixth inning, you had some momentum. You had guys on base. Bohm tacked in an RBI, while albeit he got out on that play. That's some momentum. Then in the eighth inning, Ohtani with a home run. I mean, that was just terrible. There really is not much excuses you could say for this team. You got to put the ball in the barrel. I'm not going to go nuts and say that they're done. There's a problem. Is it raining or something? Is that just my air conditioning? I don't even know. Anyway, I'm not going to go crazy and say that, they're done. This is terrible. But I will say they're a half a game away from losing first place in the NL to the Dodgers. You just dropped to fourth in the MLB in overall record with the Guardians, who you just lost to, the Orioles, who you beat before, and the Yankees, who you just lost to, all being in front of you. The Phillies are half a game behind the Orioles and Yankees, a game behind Cleveland, and you're only a game in front of, or a half a game in front of the Dodgers. You lose tonight, and then you're not in that place anymore, and you're only 2.5 games back to the Twins. You had an 8-game stretch or 10-game advantage over the Braves. Now that's only about 5.5. I mean, you're really, really slipping. And at the end of the year, a time that the Phillies are known to get hot, they are not doing that. And they're known as a playoff team. With this slippage, I really just hope this does not go into the playoffs. Now, Cole, I will ask you a couple questions before we move on to combat sports. And my first question is, over these past couple of weeks, I've been saying they're tired. That being the starting pitching. Do you think my claims have any merit to them now?
Wait, could you restate the question real quick?
I've been saying over these past couple of weeks that the starting pitching, they're tired. And they're pitching so many pitches per game. That's why they're not playing as of well. Do you think I have any merit to my claims of that now?
100%. I mean, this is a team. I mean, I've seen so many graphics of they've been going so deep into games. Like they're 28-1 when their starters go into the 8th inning. I mean, these guys are throwing 100+ pitches usually a game. I personally think it should be 3 times through the lineup for a couple guys because they struggle sometimes. But I mean, you look at this pitching. I mean, they've gone. They've done so much this year for the team, and just for the hitting and the pitching to be off sync at the same time, it's just crippling. And you definitely have some validation to that statement because they haven't really gotten any time off. I mean, you go to the All-Star game, 8 of your guys are in the All-Star game. I mean, is it really that much of a break? Kind of, but I mean,
not that much.
Having that period, so I mean, it just gets to be too much at one point. So yeah, definitely, it's getting to them. They're getting tired, but the amount of games are not going to change. It's still going to be 162 games a season every single year. It's just how are you going to plan for those games and how are you going to win as much as possible. And this Phillies team, they started out great. I can't lie, but recently, everybody's been getting tired. I'll say that. Everybody's been getting tired.
And last question, second and last question. Do you regret not trading for Luis Robert and trading for Austin Hayes?
I do regret it. As much as I love Austin Hayes, he doesn't bring the defensive capabilities that Robert has. Robert's just, it's so sad because, he's on my fantasy team, Ryan, and he's hitting home runs and no one's on base. And, that's something that would completely change in Philadelphia, hopefully, if we, get something together. But, he's a power bat. And, we have a bunch of guys that can hit it out of the park. But, you look at this lineup. Schwarber has that pop. You could say Turner has that pop. Harper definitely has that pop. But then you look at more guys down the line, they're like the teens. Bohm, Stott, Castellanos, they're kind of in the teens with home runs. But Robert, we've seen his pop before. He's had 38 bombs in a season. He would definitely add a lot of threat to the lineup. I don't hate Hayes, but I'd rather have Robert. One thing I do want to say, I want to call out Scott Kinger because he's been swinging a hot bat. Yes. And Weston Wilson hasn't really been doing anything for us.
My brother met Weston Wilson a few weeks ago at Phillies camp, so that's something there. But anyway, I don't really have much more to say. Last thing I will say, though, before I run my mouth for the next 10 minutes, is that you need to figure this out because you're known as a team to get hot at the end of the season, and it looks like that's not going to be the case. And if that translates over to the playoffs, then you're going to have a lot of problems because a lot of guys are getting paid $20 million per season. Anything else, Cole?
I got nothing, Ryan.
All right. We're going to move on here to the world of combat sports. You're primarily going to be hearing from me for the next couple of minutes here. So we're going to start off with SummerSlam, a great card. Cole, this was 1,000 out of 10. I mean, there was everything hit in this card. Cole, we might have to turn you into a wrestling fan. We've turned you into a basic UFC fan. We might got to turn you into a wrestling fan because this is the product that everybody wants to see. An incredible card. I'm going to go over all the matches really, really quickly here. I'll start off with Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. A very good match. Nothing special. Braun Breaker obviously definitely should have won. You know, the IC Championship, a very, very prestigious title now after Gunther held it for however 700-something days. And then Sami Zayn, a decent run. Hopefully we will see him, maybe go into the Bloodline storyline. We'll get into that in just a few minutes now. But yeah, Braun Breaker winning, definitely the right move in my opinion. Logan Paul versus LA Knight, a great match. Like a really, really stellar match. That neck breaker on the table, very great spot by LA Knight. And that moonsault thing off the ropes by Logan Paul, I don't know how he did that. That's something I've never seen before. And I've watched wrestling for 7 years now, and I've never seen anything like that. So that was a really great match. Obviously, LA Knight winning was the right decision. You know, you can't really have him job out to the Bloodline because of how popular he is. Hopefully, he won't job out to the Bloodline with maybe Jacob Fatu or Tama Tonga maybe winning that title in the future. So hopefully he doesn't job out too soon to the Bloodline. But we'll have to see. Bayley versus Nia Jax. This was a really great card. I don't agree with the finish. The match was okay. I don't agree with Nia Jax winning the women's championship because of the fact that, she's a transition champion. You're going to have Tiffany Stratton cash in sooner rather than later, most likely. I can't see Tiffany Stratton cashing in on Nia Jax, who's also a heel. I don't see Tiffany Stratton turning babyface anytime soon because of how well she's playing a heel. I don't really understand all this stuff with Nia Jax winning. Now, in my opinion, I think Nia Jax gets this chance because The Rock is on the board of TKO, and obviously that's his cousin. I don't really understand the plan here. I trust Triple H because he's done a really great job these past 2 years now. I don't really agree with that one, though. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Very, very good match. Nothing to complain about that. Obviously, the finish is what we expected. Dominic Mysterio turning on Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day for Liv Morgan. I really like – actually, I'll get into another point, when I talk about Priest versus Gunther. I thought that, it's a very good match. Obviously, Liv Morgan was the right decision. I always thought the plan was to have Liv Morgan beat Rhea Ripley regardless of who was champion. So it doesn't really make me that upset that Rhea Ripley lost this match. Expected, but still a very, very good storyline. I also loved it that when Dominic's walking out on Liv Morgan, he flips the bird to all the fans. You walk out with your new girl, and then you flip off everybody. It just piss everyone off. I thought that was great heel work by Dominic. Did a great job there. And then Damian Priest versus Gunther, World Heavyweight Championship match. Not much to say about this one. Obviously, once again, expected. I thought that Finn was going to turn on Rhea with Dominic because I thought that, this story of that fans know that Gunther does not need any help winning would kind of kick into everybody's head. But obviously, it doesn't really matter that much. And then I thought that they put a very good Finn explained it very, very well. Long-term storytelling by Triple H did a very good job there. How Damian Priest proclaimed himself as the leader back at Survivor Series. Then when he won the championship, he was, I guess, got arrogant, if you could say. Then obviously, at SummerSlam last year, where Priest cost Finn Balor the championship against Seth freaking Rollins. But yeah, very good match. Obviously expected. Something I do like about this whole new turning stuff is that Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Carlito, Dominic, and Liv Morgan. That's the new Judgment Day, the third Judgment Day we're getting. I really like that they're keeping JD McDonough and Carlito in the Judgment Day because they probably will be on the back burner and nobody would really care about them if they went on their own. So that's a good way to get guys on TV. So I really like that there. And then Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, Bloodlines rules match, undisputed championship, the return of the tribal chief Roman Reigns. I mean, you can definitely see that he's a needle mover. All of his custom world championships sold out in the first 8 hours. Generated like over $1 million in merchandise sales just in that very first night. I'm going to be getting my original Tribal Chief shirt. Don't ever forget that. We all knew Cody was going to win. I think that making this a Bloodlines rules match was very good just to have Roman Reigns return and take out Solo to help Cody to win. I thought very, very great, storytelling there of how, kind of Roman Reigns respects Cody Rhodes for beating him at WrestleMania. I feel like that's kind of the way it's going. But Solo, I thought he's done a great job as the new Tribal Chief in the past couple of weeks. He's really upped his promo game and, that kind of menacing force. Jacob Fatu, Cole, I think I've said this before and I'll say it again. This guy is something special. This guy can really go in the ring. Hopefully he's okay. They say he's okay after he hurt his foot when he jumped through the table off Cody Rhodes. So hopefully he's okay there. But yeah, Roman Reigns, great return. He's back this Friday, so we'll see what he has to say. He's probably going to pull in. He'll probably pull back Jimmy Uso. He'll probably pull back maybe Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. That's kind of the way it's going. Maybe he'll pull in Zilla Fatu from the independent scene. We don't even know where the Rock stands in all this. Is he on Solo side? Is he on Roman side? I assume that most of this will not culminate, but I assume a lot of questions will get coming near Survivor Series. Maybe Reigns will be moved to Raw, which is what Netflix does want coming into the new year. So yeah, really great pay-per-view, 1,000 out of 10. Cole, I really recommend you check out wrestling. So maybe you can jump in on some of these conversations. I don't know if you have Peacock, but that's where they put in. That's where they put on their PLEs. But I really see. I totally forgot. Sorry. McIntyre versus CM Punk. Special guest referee Seth Rollins. Really great match. Nothing to complain. I thought that putting CM Punk and Rollins' feud on the back burner was pretty good. You have Bronson Reed attack Seth Rollins last night on Raw. McIntyre winning, I thought, was the right deal or was the right move. And then I think you just have Punk win at Bad Blood. Now, I don't want to really give this spoiler, but I am going to do it anyway. Apparently, the main event for Bad Blood is going to be CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell match. So that's the plan right now. I think Punk would probably win that one just so he can have some momentum going into his Seth Rollins feud. That will most likely happen at Survivor Series, or that will culminate at Survivor Series and maybe the Royal Rumble. Who knows? But yeah, really great card. Once again, 1,000 out of 10. I would really hope if you guys are not wrestling fans, you guys go check out some wrestling now. And I'll move on. We'll move on to the UFC here as I close out of this tab. But yeah, we're gonna start off with some boxing. I'll be very quick on this. Terrence Crawford won his fight over I don't know how to pronounce his name. This is hold on.
Israel.
Yeah.
Madrimov.
Yeah, Madrimov. Madrimov put off a really great fight. His style was very interesting. He's a very interesting style. I don't know too much about him. I cannot lie to you guys. I'm not the biggest boxing fan in the world. I'm more of a UFC type of guy. But he had a very interesting style of boxing. I feel like Crawford didn't really know what to do at his new weight. Obviously, we know that he moved up. So I feel like he didn't really know, how to use the power in this fight. Then in the 11th and 12th round, he sort of figured it out, which very great job by him. I think that gave him the last few rounds. I think 3 through 10, he had a very good jab, which won him the multiple rounds there. But I think the 11th and 12th round really gave him the judges' scorecards and gave him the victory. I will say that I feel like Canelo versus Crawford is taking a hit now because Crawford did not look that good at 154, something around there. And if he moves up probably after Canelo wins, I feel like Crawford will probably end up losing that fight. But yeah, I feel like the bet makers are not too happy with this because I feel like Canelo versus Crawford does not look as good now because he did not dominate the fight against Matradov, or however you pronounce his name. Cole, you have anything on this one?
Yeah, I do. I watched the highlights on this. I mean, Terence Crawford was nothing near dominant. I expected him to actually dominate. I expected him to win a KO, but it did not happen that way. I thought Matradov was very, very good. Just staying in the fight, just giving himself a chance. And then, yeah, you're right, Ryan. Those last couple rounds by Terence Crawford really, sealed the deal for him there. I do agree with the unanimous decision. I don't know what the Canelo Alvarez thing is. I'm not a huge boxing guy, but yeah, I do definitely think it was an even fight. I'd say pretty even fight.
My pound for pound rankings right now are Terence Crawford, Nwayo Inoue, Alexander Usyk, Bivol, and Canelo Alvarez. That's my pound for pound rankings right now. I had to look at ESPN's rankings because I didn't know who I was going to put in my 5. But anyway, yeah, great win. I had it 7-5 Crawford, which is honestly honestly a compliment for Matradov. I mean, how many people win 5 rounds against Terence Crawford? Not too many, in my opinion. But we'll move on here. Move on to UFC. We'll talk about UFC Fight Night, which was a pretty successful card in Abu Dhabi. They will obviously be back there in what is it, October or whatever, or November for UFC 308, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. I want to start off here with let's see. I'll talk about Mackenzie Dern versus Godinez. Not much of a real great fight. I mean, Dern dominated pretty much the entire fight on the feet. Not much to say there. Cole, I'm tired of Tony Ferguson, man. I mean, I'm not tired of him. I just want him to retire. Listen, I'm not going to judge guys on where they want to fight or not. I've never fought in a UFC cage, and I never plan on doing it. But when it comes to Tony Ferguson, I mean, if you just look at what he did in this fight, I mean, he looked absolutely terrible. I mean, he got taken down like it was on easy mode in UFC 5, and then somehow let Chiesa transition to get onto his back and choke him out. I don't understand how you do that in the span of literally 15 seconds. That was such a terrible job by Tony Ferguson. He had a chance to stuff the takedown. That was not a good takedown attempt by Chiesa. His arms were just weirdly moving and all that. That was not a good takedown attempt. But Tony had no idea. He didn't know how not to stuff it. He just did a terrible job of doing it. So yeah, I really feel like he needs to retire. I think the UFC has told him, listen, it's time to retire. You're done. This is just ridiculous. You're on an 8-fight losing streak, which I think is the most in UFC history, which is just terrible. I think he will continue to fight, but not in the UFC because he just does not. 8-fight losing streak. Who's he going to beat? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, Davison Figueiredo defeated Marlon Chito Vera. Great fight. Really great fight. Figueiredo actually knocked him down in the 3rd round. Beautiful combination there by Figueiredo. Vera had him hurt, and then Figueiredo comes back with a beautiful right hand and knocked Vera down. These guys are very tough fighters. This stayed on the feet. I had it 1-1 heading into the very final round. And obviously that knockdown I thought sealed the deal for Figueroa. And I'll get into what is next for him. And then Shara Magomedov, I thought he did a great job. Got the unanimous decision. 14-0. He's at middleweight. So hopefully he gets into the title picture sooner rather than later. But yeah, I thought the fight was a little closer than what people were making it out to be because I don't think he had the best first round. I had it 2-1 in his favor. I had him actually losing the first round, but maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. But that doesn't really matter. And then the main event, Umar Nurmagomedov defeated Corey Sandhagen. Great job by Nurmagomedov. I thought Sandhagen in the first couple of rounds had great takedown defense. He was not letting Nurmagomedov, he was not giving him his back, which I thought he did a great job of. Obviously, Nurmagomedov had the ground control time, which I thought gave him the majority of the rounds. If you look at the judges' scorecard, it was, 49-46. But I think the fight was a lot closer than some people anticipate. I feel like Nurmagomedov, he kind of acts like Khabib more than he acts like Islam Makhachev, where he does go to the ground a lot more and he dominates his fights through there. He's not a boring fighter by any means. I think Umar, I don't know. It's a debate whether you want to say he's a better striker than Khabib Nurmagomedov. But they have a similar game plan when coming in. But yeah, he dominated the fight on the ground. Sandhagen, I mean, there's not too many people that are like Corey Sandhagen, who's a very good striker, has a very good knee, probably one of the best knees in the bantamweight division. He can really do it in the clinch when it comes to those. So I thought Nurmagomedov did a great job, taking him down, ground control time. Didn't do a bad job striking. That obviously needs to be fixed. Right now, I think he's next in line for a title shot after O'Malley versus Merab. What I feel like you do is you give O'Malley and Merab. So whoever loses O'Malley and Merab, I would have them face Davis and Figueroa, and then have whoever wins that fight faces the winner of Nurmagomedov and the winner of O'Malley and Merab. That's a bit of a tongue twister, but hopefully you guys get it. What's next for Corey Sandhagen? Throw him in there with Henry Cejudo in January. I mean, what else can you really do with him? He's just got knocked down. He was the number 2 bantamweight. Now Nurmagomedov has taken that crown away from him. I would just have him fight Henry Cejudo and get him back up there in the bantamweight ranks. It's not like he's completely done. I mean, he's 17-5. I mean, how many, there are so many guys that are, have such a worse record and are getting championship shots. So if he can beat maybe like somebody like Henry Cejudo, because he's still competing only probably once a year though, throw him in there with Henry Cejudo in January and just call it a day and see if he can get back up there in the bantamweight ranks. A very good card, in my opinion. I thought it hit on all levels. Obviously, there were some very good fights that answered us a lot of questions about who was going to be next in line for title shots. Cole, anything about this card?
Real quick before I start.
Yeah.
Did you go over the Alvarez-Brenner?
I don't really care. It doesn't really matter that much to me.
Neither. Anyway, so I'll start with the Dern Godinez. Dern just completely dominated, like you said, Ryan. I think, it was obviously an unanimous decision. I mean, she completely dominated, especially striking, and she got it done, on the ground as well. Moving on, Tony Ferguson, like you said, I mean, I think I could have taken him down, to be honest with you. That was she was just
throwing him in there with Max Roy.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised on how easily he went down, and then, he was kind of slow, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he looked terrible.
Chiesa, I mean, it wasn't impressive just because of how bad Ferguson is, but I mean, it was a good win by him. And then Cheeto versus Figueroa. I don't really have much on this fight. I thought Figueroa did a good job, keeping Cheeto from, getting control of him, especially. I thought, I'd say Figueroa won all 3 rounds. I don't know.
Really?
I thought he did.
I know he definitely won the 3rd round because nobody knocks down Cheeto. Even O'Malley couldn't knock down Cheeto.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you give, 1 or 2 to Cheeto. It just depends, to be honest. I thought it was a pretty even fight up until the third round. But yeah, I mean, Figueiredo did a great job there. And then Magomedov, I mean, like you said, I thought this was a little closer than people anticipated, but he did get the job done in the end. I mean, in the end, it was pretty dominating, but I can't even. I'm not even going to try it.
Don't even try. I can't do it myself, I'll be honest with you.
Michael, I thought he did a good job, put up a solid fight. Even though, yeah, I agree, Magomedov should get a chance at a title fight in the near future. And then, the main event, Sanhagen versus Nurmagomedov. I thought Nurmagomedov dominated Sanhagen. I thought he was very, very good on the ground. At one point, Sanhagen threw.
That dropped something. That's all good.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I remember at one point Sanhagen threw a right or like a left-hand crossbody, and Nurmagomedov, dodged it, and then just as he took him down, I thought that was, my highlight of the fight, to be honest with you. But yeah, Umar, I thought he did a great job. That's all I got.
I'm just reading. I'm just reading up here something about Brandon Ayuk, which is. We'll talk about it when we get into Brandon Ayuk. It's not breaking news, but still. Anyway. Not really much to say. Not much else more to say. I'm only gonna now next week's card or this Saturday. Not really much going on there. I'm not gonna look too much into it. I'll take Sergey Spivak to win, most likely by unanimous decision. Heavyweight main event. I don't really have much on this card. There's not really that many great fights here. Nothing really happening there. I'll take him probably to win by unanimous decision. He is minus 155 on the money line right now, which is pretty good. If you are a bettor, you probably can get a good payout for that. And I know that, Cole, because I've actually been playing some Stadium Live. I've installed that to make some sports picks. But anyway, you have a prediction on this main event?
Yeah, I'm going to Fiat as well. I will go with unanimous decision.
Now,
It's all right.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. All right, now we're going to get into the UFC 308 card. This is something. I mean, I really like this card. We got a very, very good, really good card here. First off, I really like that Dan Ige is on this card. They're finally giving him some recognition, I guess you could say, for taking that fight on 3 hours notice for Diego Lopez. I hate to see Rafael Dos Anjos just keep. I don't know if you want to say getting thrown to the wolves, but I don't know if he's going to win this next fight here. Anyway, I do have some complaint. I don't have complaints about this card, but I feel like that there's a bit of a problem. So, like, Magomed Ankalaev, he's 19-1-1. Why is he not facing Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight championship? I don't understand why he's facing Rakic. I assume he's going to. I would have him winning this fight. I think he deserves a championship shot against Alex Pereira. Now, I'm not sure. Now, apparently the UFC has different plans for Pereira. I'm not saying you throw Pereira on 308 and face Ankalaev, but I'm also saying why are you putting Ankalaev in a fight when he should be next in line for the light heavyweight championship? If you're Ankalaev, why are you really taking this fight? I mean, you have a really great argument that you're next in line for the championship. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Pereira has beaten Yuri Prochazka twice. He beat Rakic, and then who else is in the top 5? He beat Blachowicz, and then he beat Jamal Hill as well. So, and Ankalaev is someone he's never beaten, and that's all the guys in the top 5. I can't see Rakic beating. If Rakic beats Ankalaev, then I'm not really sure where you go from here in the light heavyweight division. So if you're the UFC, I would really hope Ankalaev is able to win this fight, so you can actually have Pereira defend, unless you're moving him up to heavyweight, which I can't see happening in the foreseeable future, because you have to do John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, as much as I hate that fight happening. And then you have to do Tom Aspinall versus John Jones before you can even think about Pereira going to for the heavyweight division, which I just don't understand what's going on here. I'm okay with Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov. I think whoever wins this fight will probably be next in line. Whoever wins this fight will probably have to win another fight before they can go up against either John Jones or Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight championship. So yeah, I mean, not really much to say about that there. Volkov had a very great fight last time out, so I think that he might give Ciryl Gane some problems. But anyway, Robert Whittaker versus Hamzat Chimaev. I'm praying, and I'm not even joking right now. I really hope Hamzat is okay going into his next, going into this fight against Bobby Knuckles. I am very hopeful that we can get this fight because, we want to see Hamzat fight. He's 13-0. He's a very good striker. He can go to the ground. I mean, this is somebody we want to see fighting. And somebody like Robert Whittaker, I think he should be going to fight Sean Strickland in a number one championship fight or number one contender bout for the middleweight championship after Duplessis and Adesanya. So the fact that Robert Whittaker is taking this fight is honestly very, very, I don't know if I want to say risky by him, but I feel like, he should be maybe going on the better things and just leave Hamzat to the wolves. He better be ready for this fight. I really hope he doesn't get sick. Then the main event, Ilia Topuria, Max Holloway. This is going to be a close fight. Topuria, I think he really wants to prove that he's not a paper champion and he's just a guy that doesn't want to defend. But Max Holloway, man, he's something. He has not lost to a featherweight since 2012. Let that sink in, Cole. I mean, and now he's going up against Ilia Topuria, and Max Holloway has the BMF belt. And what does that mean? That he is the baddest MFer. I won't curse now. But anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I'll give my prediction near fight week. I don't want to give it this early. We still have to wait until we get into all the proceedings, which actually this card's in October. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. I said in November. But yeah, October 26th. This is a really great card. Obviously, some fights don't make sense, but they're really good fights nonetheless. Cole?
Yeah, I'll just touch on the main event here, Ryan.
Yeah.
I actually love this main event with Topuria and Max Holloway. I think it's going to be a great match. Topuria, undefeated. I'm not sure how he's going to perform against Holloway, though. Can you remind me who did he knock out with like 1 second ago?
Justin Gaethje. If you remember, Cole, a lot of people were saying, even I predicted Gaethje to win that fight.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to check back who I said, because I might have said Max Holloway, but I'm excited for this fight. I'm excited for this card as well.
Great card.
Just looking at the guys, I like Robert Whittaker a lot. Like you said, I think he should be going for a higher fight. I don't really know who this other guy is, but
Hamzat is good, but he barely fights.
Yeah. Only 13 games. I don't really have much more. I think Ankalaev, he looks really, really good. That's all I got.
All right.
I like Dan Ige as well.
Dan Ige, I see. I'm a Dan Ige fan now. When you just do that one little thing against Diego Lopez, even if you lose, he did win a round. You get a lot of hype or a lot of fandom for it. But anyway, we're gonna move on. We've talked about a lot of combat sports, so we're gonna get into some NFL football now. Cole, I'll let you start because I've been talking for a while. You're talking about Brandon Ayuk. You're giving some predictions for him. Now, I do want to remind you, this is a reminder from Jordan Schultz. I will read this to you before we get into it. Reminder, although Brandon Ayuk doesn't have an official no-trade clause, he effectively has one because his opinion carries more weight that of the 49ers or any potential trade partner. If Ayuk doesn't want to go to a team, he can tell that team, I'm not signing an extension. This is a major life decision that demands the kind of thought and nuance Ayuk has given it. Cole, give your prediction on Brandon Ayuk.
So, I'm looking at a team who needs a wide receiver badly. They have a great head coach, and they're in a tough division. So, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Look at this team. They have Pickens, who is a standout wide receiver. I think Ayuk is better than Pickens. But, that's up for grabs. But I think he would be the number one option in Pittsburgh. After that, the wide receivers fall off. Because you look at George Pickens, all you have left is Van Jefferson, Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, Quez Watkins, and Scotty Miller. I mean, what are you going to do with that? I could probably sell those guys for a loose fry from McDonald's. Anyways, yeah. So basically, my point is they need another weapon other than their running backs plus George Pickens. Obviously, they have a pretty deep running back core with Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, and Cordero Patterson. Even though Patterson's getting very old, he's still solid. But anyways, they need another option that Russell Wilson needs to throw, or maybe Justin Fields needs to throw to. But yeah, I really think Ayuk would fit well with Mike Tomlin. I think he'd fit great in that offense. I like their offensive line. I think they got a ton of upside as well, especially with the addition of Wilson. He wasn't bad last year. People say he was horrible. No, he wasn't. He was super solid. He played on a horrible team. Sutton was solid, but I think he's going to upgrade with Pickens. And if you add Ayuk, it's definitely going to be better, the offense. Javonte Williams wasn't there most of the season. So, yeah, I mean, you have a great upside with this offense. And just looking at the star power here, it increases ticket sales, and that's what you want to do. So, yeah, that's my prediction. You got one, Ryan?
Cole, they call me a future journalist, right? Well, I've been looking into it. Now, obviously, I have notifications from everywhere and everyone. And from what I have seen, read, and researched, the Patriots look like they are not going to stop until they get Brandon Ayuk. If you look at what teams have done these past couple of seasons, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles are the greatest example. Jalen Hurts had a decent year in his very first year as a starter. He goes out, and Howie Roseman goes out and gets A.J. Brown. And then Jalen Hurts looks like an MVP that very next year. I think what the Patriots want to do is I don't think they want to do a rebuild. I think they've been waiting. They are waiting too long for a rebuild. They see what's going on. They see, or in their division, they see that the Bills are on the decline. They see that the Jets only have a tight window and most likely are not going to be doing much to get to the championship. You see that the Dolphins have some questions because, they just paid Tua Tagovailoa. What's their salary cap going to look like in a couple of years? The Patriots have a future, and if they can get somebody like Brandon Ayuk to pair with Drake May, and they can get some chemistry for maybe a year, try and add on some additional pieces, then you can have a very good team, and then you can retake the AFC East. Some problems I do have with Drake May coming out of the draft. I don't like his footwork. I think he gets way too, emotional. I don't want to say emotional. He feels too pressurized in a pressurized pocket. Now that sounds very weird, but nonetheless, I think that's what part of his problems are. So I think if he can have someone like Brandon Ayuk who can run really whatever route you really need him to run, and you pair him up with someone like Drake May who has problems facing under pressure, and then you can put him out there with Brandon Ayuk who can really do anything on the field, I think that can alleviate some of the pressure and minimize some mistakes that Drake May is going to make in his very first season. Now, once again, as I just mentioned, Cole, Brandon Ayuk could just say no because he doesn't want to go through a rebuild for a season. He doesn't want to waste one of his prime years. Now, if money can drive him over, the Patriots can do that because they're not handicapped by anybody. They're not really paying anybody that much money, so they can pay Brandon Ayuk a top 5 wide receiver money. So that's not a problem. So maybe that would lure him over. The Pittsburgh Steelers, you just said he's going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I could definitely see that happening. I think the Patriots are more of a likely destination because I think they're a little more aggressive in Brandon Ayuk. I also think he wants his money. But the Steelers, I feel like Brandon Ayuk wants to be the number one option, which I don't think he feels like he is in San Francisco because they're not willing to pay him like a number one option. And I'm not sure the Steelers could do it, but I'm not sure if they'd be willing to do it because they're going to also have to pay George Pickens very, very soon.
Exactly.
So that's a likely destination. I'm not sure the assets that the 49ers would want. I would think that they would want someone like George Pickens in return and a lot of assets, something that I don't think the Steelers are going to want to give up because you want to develop Justin Fields into being your starter in probably 2 seasons. The Cleveland Browns, they just jumped into this whole mess. That's not going to be happening. And from what I see, the 49ers want Amari Cooper, which is something the Browns are not willing to do. Also, if the Patriots are willing to pay Brandon Ayuk top 5 wide receiver money, the Browns cannot afford that because they are handicapped by Deshaun Watson's $230 million contract. So I don't see him going to the Browns. You could just throw that one out the window. I think it's just a leverage play for other teams, or the media just kind of pressuring other teams to give up stuff for Brandon Ayuk. We're in a very interesting situation right now, Cole, because you don't trade for your number 1 wide receiver in the middle of training camp as soon as you're about to go into the preseason. If it happens, I feel like the Patriots are the best destination because of the fact that because if you do trade for him during training camp, then you're definitely not going to have a full training camp with your number 1 wide receiver and the starting quarterback, that being Drake May in the case, which would mean you would need the full season to get under some chemistry, which means you could definitely have a few seasons of a very good window to try and compete for a championship.
Yeah, I will say I think, Ayuk definitely does have a very, very high chance of going to the Patriots, but I will say better watch your mouth because Jamie's lurking in.
Yeah, I don't even want to hear him.
To clip you.
Yeah, I don't even want to hear him. But it is what it is. Any final word, Cole? Or are we good?
I got nothing.
Now we're going to move on to our Philadelphia Eagles. So let me just pull up. Now, obviously, I'm not inside the Eagles camp, so I just kind of have to give a little bit of my analysis. So I'm kind of reading what people have wrote, and I'm kind of just forming my own opinions around that. I'm going to start with the offense here. Jalen Hurts has not thrown an interception through 9 practices. Now, I'm not trying to look too deep into training camp, but that's really good. I mean, you hear a lot of guys who struggle during training camp, even if they're superstars, and Jalen Hurts just seems like he's having a really great time. It's not like he's throwing a bad completion percentage. Apparently, he's throwing around 70%, throwing a couple touchdowns. So you really like to see that from Jalen Hurts. Kellen Moore saying that he's been phenomenal and he's done an awesome job continuing to evolve and build this thing as we go. And obviously there's another more quote, but I won't go into that. It says that he's pushing the ball downfield, and there's a lot of hurry-up offense, which I think is something that's very good for the Eagles, because, I think that shows that they're conditioned and that they're, ready to roll for the season. It seems like A.J. Brown has been having a very good camp as well. It seems like their connection is better than ever, so all the people they're saying that they've been fighting, seems like those rumors have been put to bed. I haven't heard much about Saquon Barkley, so hopefully he's having a half-decent camp. I'd like to hear a little more update on the offensive line because obviously there's no Jason Kelce and we're going into a new day. Not really a new day because you have some older guys there, but Jason Kelce was the guy on the offensive line. He kept everything going. So I would say I'd like to hear a little bit more about that, but I'm sure we'll hear a little more soon. And then on the defensive side, apparently cornerback is a very, very, very big position to be competing for. James Bradbury better watch out because he has guys like Isaiah Rodgers Sr., who I know has been putting a lot of work in this past year, especially when he was on suspension for the gambling violation. So I think he's going to have a breakout season. I think that's someone to watch out for, Cole. Then obviously the rookies, Quinyon Mitchell. He's a very, very fast corner. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Quinyon Mitchell, but as a first-round draft pick, I'm expecting some big things from him in his first year, rated the number 1 corner in the NFL draft. People were saying that he fell way too far. Even Micah Parsons was very, very disappointed when the Eagles, I think he was pissed when the Eagles were able to get Quinyon Mitchell. Obviously, Cooper DeJean, he's been out with an injury these past couple of weeks, so hopefully he'll be back and ready to roll. But I think cornerback is something we definitely need to look into because I think that somebody like Isaiah Rodgers Sr. is somebody we're definitely going to need to look out for. into camp. And something that I really want to look, I also want to hear about is the defensive line. Jordan Davis, Cole. How many times have I said it? I was very upset on draft night that the Eagles did not pick Kyle Hamilton. What has Kyle Hamilton done ever since being drafted? He's been first team all defense or whatever for safety. He's been probably one of the best safeties in the NFL, if not the best safety in the NFL. I think he'll be the highest paid safety in a couple of seasons now. Then you have Jordan Davis, who's been first team all pro of the injured reserve list. So I really would like to hear about what he's been doing. I have no doubt that Jalen Carter, Brandon Graham, Bryce Huff, that they're doing their job, and Josh Sweat as well. But I really want to hear a little bit. I really want to see a little bit more notes on Jordan Davis and what he's been doing in camp. Cole?
I will say I have been hearing some very, very great things about Johnny Wilson.
Yeah, it's another one.
I'm hearing he could take the third wide receiver spot. I think it's very possible. Paris Campbell and John Ross. I mean, these are both guys you could put, on the practice squad. Anaya Smith, I'm hoping he can, do a little bit better in camp because,
he's a utility guy. I have no faith in him.
Yeah, you can't put him on, the practice squad, so you're gonna have to find a spot for him on the lineup, or he's getting cut. So, running back, I'm hearing okay things about Will Shipley. I think. No.
Gainwell's just been so good in the Eagles' offense, and he knows the team.
Right.
That Shipley's not that. I think he'll be on the roster definitely, but he's not going to be. Yeah. He's not going to be at snaps.
Yeah, I totally get that.
I haven't heard much about Barkley though, which I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah, it probably is both.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Maybe he's just getting used to it. But anyway.
Yeah. And then moving on to the defense, just real quick. I'm hearing not some great things about Nakobe Dean. I'm hearing Jeremiah Trotter stealing some of his reps.
He did get hurt a couple of weeks ago. That's something to point out there. I just hope he's okay. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, but you don't like to see that either way. And then I'm hearing pretty solid things about Keely Ringo.
That's my fan.
Yeah, and then I'm hearing James Bradbury's having an incredible camp at safety. I heard he's working in there and he's doing absolutely phenomenal. Just per my reports.
For your reports. Yeah, I forgot about Ringo. I'm a big Ringo fan, I will say. I was very happy when they took him. I was in the Penrose Diner here in South Philly, and the Eagles picked him, and I jumped out of my seat because I was so happy that they picked him. I think he'll have a really good season. Isaiah Rodgers Sr., I will say it again, he's someone to look out for. You're saying I didn't hear Bradbury was at playing safety, so I'm glad that you brought that up because I think we need some safety help. Sidney Brown's going to be out for most of the year, who I'm a very big fan of. Reed Cooper DeJean, don't know when he's going to be back from injury. Hopefully he'll get some reps during the preseason. You obviously have Reed Blankenship in there, who's just a mini linebacker, a mini linebacker playing safety. So I'm glad to see that I'm glad to hear that Bradbury's doing well at safety. And then Slay, I mean, not too much notes about him. He's probably fine. Something like Barkley, probably not a good or a bad thing. Nicole, you mentioned that. Not really much more to say. I mean, it seems like
I got one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hearing that Isaiah Rodgers is going to be our starting kick returner. I don't know if he'll win the position, but that's what I'm...
Listen, I'm loving what... I really like him. I think he's in for a big year. I really believe it. I think he's been working. But anyway, not much more to say. Any final word?
No, I'm good.
All right. So we'll move on here. We just talked about Brandon Ayuk. For some reason, I thought we didn't talk about him. So we're going to move on. We'll move back into the MLB and before we go into Team USA. Cole, you have some MLB awards that you'd like to hand out. Now, obviously, these are subject to change, but as of August 6, 2024, what are your MLB awards?
So I'll start with MVP. I'll start in the AL. Aaron Judge, obvious candidate here. Bobby Witt has been great as of late, especially coming out of the All-Star break. So, I mean, he's not completely out of the picture, but Aaron Judge has just been so good. You look at his numbers, 100-plus RBIs, 40-plus home runs. He's batting like 320-plus, and it's only August, guys. So, he's just going to completely tear it up the rest of the year. NL, this has kind of gotten out of hand as well. Shohei Ohtani's starting to run away with it, especially with Harper's mishaps. Ketel Marte, he's in the race. I'd say he'd be my up, but really nothing else there. So I mean, they're pretty much on locks, I'd say.
Yeah, because no Mookie Betts as well, and Harper's been like two for 26 in his last whatever at that.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying Ketel's
right
up because there's just really nobody else there.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And then I'll go AL MVP or AL Cy Young. My bad. I'll go with Terrence Skubal 1, and then Corbin Burns 2. I think this, pretty straightforward again. I will say Seth Lugo does have a case. I think he should be in the top 5, along with one of the Mariners starters between Kirby and Gilbert, between George Kirby and Logan Gilbert. I think they both have been playing up to par as well, especially Logan Gilbert with the quality starts. And then quickly moving on to the NL Cy Young. As much as I hate to say it, Chris Sale's number 1.
Really?
Yeah, Chris Sale's number 1. Zach Wheeler close at 2, and then Paul Skeens at 3. That's the podium for me.
Really?
I think. Yeah.
I'm actually surprised. I don't look too deep into that, but like I don't look too deep into Cy Young awards, but I'm actually surprised.
Yeah, I mean Chris Sale is just a dominant all year round, especially with the strikeouts. Wheeler's been solid with the strikeouts, but not what he used to be.
I thought injuries.
He's more of a contact guy as of late.
I thought injuries were gonna take because Sale's missed a few starts. I think so.
Yeah,
I thought that was gonna take him away.
He's been really, really impressive.
No, I think he's been good. Of course, it's for the Braves.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, Ryan.
Yeah, I got you. I won't argue with you about I'm never going to argue with you about pitching, but I have Corbin Burns as my AL Cy Young. Why is he not number 1 on your list?
Skubal with the strikeouts, and especially Skubal. The Tigers, they don't have the greatest defense. Orioles have a much better defense as well, I'd like to say. And, Terrence Skubal's got whoever behind the dish calling his pitches, while Corbin Burns got Adley Rutschman.
That's true.
But anyways, I'll just quickly move on to AL Rookie of the Year. This one's pretty close for me, and I'm going to give it to Luis Gil. I know a ton of people are going with Cowser here, but Luis Gil had just propelled that Yankees team. They were starting to come down a little bit back to earth, but then they shot right back up when Luis Gil came into town. And, he hasn't been great as of late, I will say that, but just his impact, his first couple weeks on the team, it was pretty hard to beat. But Colton Cowser, he was solid coming in as well, but, he definitely cooled off, and he hasn't been, as great as of late as well either. I'm going to give that to Luis Gil. And then AL, my bad. And then NL, this is
it's easy.
Clear lock. I mean, this is the easiest decision of my life. Paul Skeens, I have him 3rd for Cy Young. Why wouldn't he win it? I mean, he's negative 6,000 on FanDuel, just so you know.
God damn, that. What's the payout on that? Jesus.
Oh, yeah, you bet a penny you're getting back, like a penny and, a little shaving.
Oh, my God.
And then I'll just give you my top 3 because I think Jackson Merrill's ahead of Shota Imanga. There you go.
All right.
Yeah, that's wild. Wow. And on DraftKings, he's only negative 2,000.
Okay. That's nuts. Actually, we're getting to get USA Baseball in just a second here. But literally on Stadium Live, I was gonna bet USA. Literally, no matter what you put on the line, if USA won, you were just gonna get the same amount back. You're literally getting a refund. Yeah. It didn't make any sense.
Might as well put a couple on Brazil.
Yeah, I was going to, but I was too late on it. But anyway, now that I did my incredible transition.
They would compete a little bit.
But anyway, moving in, as I just did my beautiful transition into USA basketball. I mean, I think they got it on lock, Cole. I don't really see anybody beating them. This Brazil team, they weren't a bad team, but they just weren't on the level of USA. I mean, you don't really know many of these guys. I mean, my guy, Rule Neto from the 76ers a couple of years ago, that was my guy. I mean, he did nothing, but this guy, Kava Kolafa, whatever his name is, he had a decent game.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, wasn't very efficient, but 30 points.
30, I mean, 13 for 20 from the field. Not a bad game. I mean, these guys just... something that the USA has done better is closing out on three-point shooters. This is evident here as Brazil shot 32% from three. Remember, Cole, I was talking about how the USA was doing a bad job closing out on three-point shooters. Well, they have realized that these referees are not like NBA referees where they'll call anything, even if you get into this space of the shooter. In the international way, in international competition, that's not the way. If you get into the landing space of the shooter, they don't really call the foul too much. So the fact that, they're doing a better job in that, I think, is a testament of what Steve Kerr has been able to do these past couple of games. Obviously, his minutes distribution has been criticized, but in my opinion, I could really care less as long as USA is getting the victory. So yeah, great job defensively in the paint. I mean, I don't think too many points were given up. Points in the paint. I don't even know. Where can I? All right, whatever. But I mean, you out rebounded them 46-34. So you did. The paint was fine. Only 86 points given up. So yeah, not really much to say defensively. You did a very good job. Brazil also is just not up to the level of USA there. And then offensively, I thought they had great passing out on the perimeter. Joel Embiid, I mean, he hit 3 threes in the game. He had a very good game with 14 points. So I thought he did a great job there. LeBron James distributing the ball. He had 12 points, 5 or 6 from the field, 9 assists. I thought he did a great job being that leader there. I would have liked to see a little bit more from Steph Curry, but it is what it is. Drew Holiday, very good defensively as well. Devin Booker, I mean, he had a very good performance, 18 points. I know he had like a 4-point play at one point. And then off the bench, I mean, you got guys like Kevin Durant, Adebayo, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards. Adebayo and Anthony Davis done a great job defending the paint, especially Anthony Davis. He had 8 rebounds in this game. Bam was 7. Then you see Anthony Edwards, 17 points off the bench, 60% from 3. Or 60% from the field. He had an incredible game. Then Derek White, also great defense as well. So, yeah, not really much to say. I feel like the USA's pretty much got this one. Got the gold medal on lock. I don't really want to jinx them, but it just seems like they are just so far above the level of competition ever since the exhibition games. Now, I think they care a little bit more. I said it in the exhibition games that they weren't giving as much effort as I hoped they were going to be giving. Now I think they're really giving it some effort, and they're just kind of pushing through it. They know they got to do this. They know they got to, win this gold medal to restore supremacy in the United States. Something that was pretty surprising was Canada losing. Then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander taking a shot at Jamal Murray on Instagram, saying number 2, stepped up, and number 4 stepped or was not as good or whatever, was referring to Jamal Murray's number. So I thought he did a great. I thought that was pretty interesting there. But anyway, United States, I think they got this gold medal. I don't want to say on lockdown because once again, the European competition is nothing to sneeze or nothing to sneeze at. They're definitely very good. So hopefully the USA will definitely get the victory in the gold medal game, and we will have to see. Cole?
Yeah, like you said, I believe the U.S. has this on lockdown. But you want to know what else is on lockdown? Jason Tatum and his inefficiency off the bench. Oh boy, 1 for 5 from the field. I mean, I know Jamie was loving this one. Also, Derek White was very efficient. 2 for 6 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Holiday, he was all right. Obviously great defensively. But, we don't want to give him too much credit. We don't want to boost the Celtics that much. Embiid had a great game. Oh, my gosh, 7 rebounds, 14 points. Yeah, I mean, awesome. He also had a block. Oh, my gosh, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Embiid. Anyways, that's all I got.
Something I do want to comment on, I didn't do this last week. I was really upset that so many people were bashing Steve Kerr for not giving Jason Tatum minutes. If the current plan was working of not putting Jason Tatum on the floor, then why are you complaining about it? Now, if Tatum would have done terrible and the USA would have lost primarily because of him, then people would have got mad at Steve Kerr for playing him. So you're not going to take Jason Tatum out for LeBron James. You're not going to take him out for Kevin Durant. The way Anthony Davis and Adebayo have been playing on the defensive end, you're not going to take them out for Jason Tatum. I don't really understand the complaints here. Now, obviously, in garbage time, there is really no argument. There really is no defense on why he can't play in garbage time, because I could go out there and play in garbage time. But when you're talking about meaningful minutes, the way the USA team has been playing, he just doesn't have that big of a role. Everybody else has just been playing so much better than he has on both sides of the ball that you don't really need him that much. See, same thing with him. I mean, not this really the same thing with Embiid, because obviously he had a very good game. But, a couple games when Embiid wasn't playing as of well, he wasn't as needed as that much. It's not just for Jason Tatum. Embiid was not playing that well, and then they were doing really fine without him when he didn't play a minute against Serbia or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't really understand.
And he only played 12 minutes against Brazil. It's not like he played a ton, but he got his minutes, he got his points, and he got up out of there with the win.
Right. I don't understand it. Anyway, I think that's it for that. Hopefully USA will claim the gold medal on Saturday. We'll talk about this next week. But to end off the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast, Cole, let's get into our rants.
Here we go. Ankalaev not getting a title shot.
Listen, Cole, this is annoying. I am so tired of Alex Pereira being talked about in the heavyweight division. Listen, I understand that, Pereira moving up is the big thing in the UFC, and that's the moneymaker. But let me tell you something. Ankalaev, 19 wins. Alex Pereira has beaten every single person in the light heavyweight division. Alex Pereira is not even going to get a championship opportunity when it comes to John Jones or Tom Aspinall or whoever it was. Now, if you're talking about Israel Adesanya facing Alex Pereira at light heavyweight, I don't really like that much myself, because of the fact that, Alex Pereira, or not Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya at that point wouldn't even have a title defense. You at least need to have a few title defenses before you move up and try to claim a second belt. Pereira should be facing Ankalaev probably in January, but it is what it is at this point. I hope he beats Rakic, and I hope he gets a championship shot that he definitely does deserve.
All right, next one up. Crawford versus Canelo looks bad now.
I mean, Cole, I've already mentioned this, but I will say it again. But I'm going to rant about it this time. Terrence Crawford, if he wanted the moneymaker, he should have went for the knockout. Cole, you predicted a knockout. It sure as hell didn't happen. You needed a knockout to get people talking about you versus Canelo. Now, if Canelo loses or doesn't look as good in his next fight, that'll obviously make it take a hit too. But if you want the moneymaker, if you want people to pay for the pay-per-view, if you want dollars in your pockets, you need knockouts. Look at what Gervonta Tank Davis has been able to achieve. He's put money in his pockets because of the fact that he was able to knock out Frank Martin with a brutal, brutal knockout. I don't understand why Terrence Crawford was not going for it in his last fight here. He should have went for the knockout. He was not looking as good. He didn't look slow, but he does not look as fast as he was, as we anticipated Terrence Crawford to be. He only won 2 more rounds. The Matramal, however you pronounce his name, did. Not a great performance by Terrence Crawford. He needs to get that fixed.
All right, last one. No one wants Madden 25.
Listen, Madden 25 has been a disaster for the past 5 years or so. It literally is just a different game, it literally is a different cover with a roster update. There's no difference when it comes to Madden 25, Madden 24, Madden 23, Madden 22. It's literally just a moneymaker. The only reason Madden gets people to buy their game is because of the fact is that they make the ratings controversial, so people will buy the game and get people talking about it, which then in turn gets people to buy it. There literally is no difference. And then the fact that NCAA 25 is promoting it as a bundle, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to buy that bundle. Everybody just wants NCAA 25. Nobody wants Madden. Like, at the end of the day, I'm probably going to get it, but stop advertising it like everybody is loving it. It's just not working out. They need to figure out a way to make it better. How they make it better, I don't really know, but they just have to find a way.
Agreed.
It is what it is. Anything on these topics, Cole?
I got nothing.
All right. So
That does need an update, though. I haven't bought the game in 2 years.
I don't really blame you, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I still have 24, I think.
I don't blame you, but we're going into 25. But anyway, it is what it is. Well, I think that'll do it. No, I don't think. I know that'll do it for this latest edition of the CR7 Podcast, guys. We'll be back next Tuesday, and we will see you later. Peace. This thing will let me end the stream.